Hey fam, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm Joe.
I'm Dan.
And we're back with another reaction. It's another pitch meeting, and we're sticking with the same series. Which one, Dan?
So we're doing the second Hobbit film, The Desolation of Smaug.
The first one had just a couple of plot holes.
More than that.
Let's see how many this one's got. Cheers to you, fam. Enjoy.
So, you have a Hobbit sequel for me? Yes, sir, I do. So at the beginning of this one, the good guys are on the run, because the orcs, they're right behind them. I thought the Eagles picked them up at the end of the last movie and flew them away from the orcs.
They did.
Well, I guess by the time
Not
they
that
got
far.
down from that giant cliff the Eagles dropped them off at, the orcs had time to catch up. Oh,
Probably.
very unhelpful birdies. And so they end up hiding out at this guy Bjorn's place, and sometimes this guy turns into a bear. Nice, nice, nice. What kind of role is he gonna play in the story? Almost none, but the orcs are gonna be like, well, maybe we should back off from the dwarves for now, because there's a bear around. They're actively chasing a super powerful wizard, but they're scared of a bear. That's what we're going
Yes.
with. Well, okay then. So anyway, then Gandalf is like, guess what, everybody? I gotta go. Oh, that guy's always leaving. He is, yeah, because if he was with
You
the
don't hang around
dwarves on
long.
their adventures, he'd be able to solve all their problems. So we gotta sideline this beardy boy.
For
That
God's
makes
sake.
sense. So where does he go? Oh, well, he's gonna walk around and slowly discover that the Lord of the Rings movies are gonna happen.
More
I
of
guess it'll be
this
fun
again.
To watch him figure out what we know is gonna happen is gonna happen. Yeah, so he has a little Harry Potter battle with some darkness and then gets put in a cage. Why wouldn't the bad guys just kill him? Well, because he's in the Lord of the Rings movies. They can't kill him right now. Right, okay.
Well, sure they
so
can.
anyway,
He just come
Bilbo
back.
and the dwarves head into this forest and they get captured by spiders. Oh no. Yeah, but by putting the ring on, Bilbo's gonna be able to be invisible and fight back. All right, he's invisible with the ring. He must be pretty much unstoppable. Well, actually, he's not unstoppable because he's gonna take it off. Well, why would he do that? So the scene can have a sense of danger. Oh, he's
Oh,
doing
for
it for
God's
the
sake.
audience. Okay, that's nice of him. Yeah, and he's gonna stab this one spider, and the spider's gonna be like, ouch, that stings. Okay. And Bilbo's gonna be like, huh, sting, that's a good name for this little sword I have. And that's how the sword he gives Frodo gets its name. You mean we're finally revealing how the little sword got the name Sting? We're doing it, sir. Turns out it was a, dying spider describing the pain of a fatal stab wound.
Yay.
Very good to know.
Lame.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Lord of the Rings movies, but the whole time I was sitting there like, okay, but why is that little sword named Sting? Like, what's the backstory there?
I didn't
A
care. I
spider
didn't
in a
care
lot of pain. It's a good thing we're making these movies for sure. Anyway, then Legolas is gonna show up. Remember him from the Lord of the Rings movies? He's from the Lord of the Rings movies.
Very
Yes,
good.
he is, and this dwarf Gloin is gonna show him a picture of his son Gimli. Remember him? Where's he from? The
Lord,
of the
they don't
Rings
stop with
movies.
this
From the
shit.
Lord of
No,
the
they don't.
Rings movies. He sure is, sir. It's all connected. So all the dwarves
Yes,
end up
thank
getting
you.
captured by elves and put into little prison cells. Okay, so these guys are just constantly getting captured. Practically non-stop, sir. So then we're gonna meet this lady elf named Tauriel. Okay. And this dwarf Keeley is gonna be like, aren't you gonna search me? I could have anything down my trousers. Oh, gross. Yeah. And so obviously that's gonna spark quite the romance between them. Oh, it is. It's just like in real life, you make an overt reference to your junk the very first time you meet a woman, and that leads to them falling in love with you.
that
I'm
how
not
it
sure
works?
that's how it
Yeah,
works.
that's how it works for
Actually,
me,
it is,
yeah.
sir, and I should know. I spend most of my time on the internet, and I almost went on a date one time. It does sound like you know what you're talking about. Anyway, so I figure with this storyline, we're adding like a whole new dimension to the Hobbit trilogy. What dimension is that exactly? Is the hot little dwarf gonna get to sleep with the hot elf lady? Gotcha. So then
Oh,
Bilbo's
God.
gonna use his magic ring to become invisible and help them all escape. This kind of feels like familiar territory. And they're all gonna get into these barrels and escape down the river of questionable physics. Oh, sounds exciting, but wouldn't the barrels just fill up with water and sink? Not on the river of questionable physics, they don't. In fact, they practically take flight and take out hordes
Yeah, they
of orcs
do.
on their own. Wow. And then at the end of this big sequence, the elves are gonna capture an orc for questioning. Oh, they are? Yeah, and he's gonna be like, guess what? We hit that hot dwarf with a poison arrow, so he's gonna die in a couple of days. Kinda weird of him to give up that random tidbit of information. Does he know that she's romantically interested in him? No, but she needs to know this information for the plot so she can go heal him later, so this orc is just gonna kinda brag about it for no reason. Oh, okay, he's a plot orc. He
Yes,
is.
plot
So then the
orc.
dwarves are gonna get to this lake, and they're gonna have to figure out how to cross it. Oh, what are they gonna do? They're gonna pay a guy to bring them across it. Right, okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward way of dealing with that problem. Yeah, so this guy Bard is gonna smuggle them into Lake Town in some fish barrels, and they're gonna come out of a toilet, and we're gonna spend
Ugh.
some time talking about Lake Town politics. Sure, I guess we gotta fill these movies up with something. We're also gonna
guess
find out
so.
that this guy Bard has something called a black arrow, and that's the only way to kill a dragon. Oh, good, so the dwarves bring that up to the mountain? Nope. Oh, okay. Anyway, eventually Thorin's gonna get most of the gang going, and they're gonna head to the Lonely Mountain. Nice, did they get captured along the way? Not this time, surprisingly. Oh, good for them. And their map says that the last leg light of Durin's Day will shine upon the keyhole on the mountain, but then it frickin' doesn't. Oh, weird. Yeah, so Thorin's like, well, I guess it's time to pack it up and go home. This didn't work out at all. What? Yeah, he's all done with it. He gives up. They came
Yeah, they do.
try looking for the keyhole for a bit. They don't, but then Bilbo realizes that the map actually meant moonlight, so then he finds the hole, no problem. Oh, unnecessarily vague ancient maps are tight. So then Bilbo has to go inside the mountain and find this thing called the Arkenstone. Right, and why do they need that again? Well, because when they have that, it means that Thorin can rule. How does the stone help with that? Unclear, it just kind of does. Does he show it to people like an ID card and they're like, oh yeah, that's the king? Something like that, I guess. So anyway, Bilbo goes inside and there's just a sea of gold. Like, I mean, there is a ton of it. Wow, gonna be hard to find the Arkenstone in there. Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
It shouldn't be.
Really? Yeah, it's just kind of next to him. It's just kind of right there. Yeah, he sees it pretty much right away. Well, good, you know, great. But then frickin' Smaug the dragon pops out. Uh-oh. And then they have this big old conversation, but the dragon's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna kill you now, so Bilbo runs away. Oh, okay. And then all the dwarves show up and they run around and they realize they can't escape, so they decide they're gonna have to kill this dragon. How do they plan on doing that? Well, they have this big intricate plan where they turn on a bunch of furnaces and run around and do things, and the dragon doesn't just burn them. No, in fact, he barely uses his firepower. Oh, very considerate of him.
Yes,
so the dwarves
indeed.
are gonna make this giant dwarf out of molten gold and try to kill him with that thing. I feel like beating a dragon with heat isn't gonna work. Well, that's the way they're gonna go about it. So he's gonna get covered in molten gold, but he's gonna be totally fine because he's a dragon. Right, because he's a dragon. Because he's a dragon. But then he's mad, so he's like, oh, I'm gonna show you revenge. Oh, so he burns them? No, he takes off. He flies towards Lake Town. What? I don't know. He's gonna go set them on fire. Okay. And then Bilbo's gonna be like, what have we done? Wow, so did they manage to stop him? We'll see. What do you mean, we'll see? Well, the movie's done, sir. It's over. What are you talking about? We're just gonna end it there? Yeah, Bilbo's gonna be like, what have we done? And then we're done. Wow, well, it sounds
finally give us some action
It's just
that you're
not
gonna do that.
resolving
Yeah.
anything at all, but it's gonna be a fun-looking 3 hours. Are we gonna go all in on the CGI this time as well? We sure are, sir. I don't think anyone's gonna have a problem with it.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
No.
We don't need practical effects. What's that? That's for people who are too cheap to do CGI. I didn't notice a lot of these things until they break it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, like calling that river the river of questionable physics, for instance, is about as proper as you get there.
Where everything conveniently works out for them as they make it through.
Yeah, like that barrel just kind of starts killing orcs.
Yeah. Like, wow, you took out a whole army of orcs with one barrel.
Yeah.
It's like Donkey Kong.
Yay.
Like, what's the deal with the Arkenstone, too? Because I never understood that either. Like, what is so special about this thing that makes you a king?
I have no clue. In the first movie, I know they dug it up just by accident or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the guy's just there hacking away. I mean, he could have kept that for himself, but the king just took it as a sign. I think the words were there was a sign of his divine right to rule that they found it. But to me, I think it's just a symbol of their greed and their addiction to wealth, I guess.
So basically, it's just like the Chinese imperial seal. Like, it's just a mark of ownership. It has no real power.
That's what it would seem. Yeah, but it's a symbol to the dwarves more than anything that their right to rule is divine.
Yeah, it seems kind of pointless.
Yeah.
You have all this gold, you could literally buy yourself a kingdom. But no, you want to have the one little stone that theoretically should have taken you forever to find, but doesn't.
I know, it's just there. But I mean, technically it did take them forever to find it because how long were they chiseling away to have the immense wealth that they've had?
Oh, well, sure, but
that takes, hundreds of years.
I mean, realistically, there's so much gold in that place. You guys could have just taken turns going in there, filling up bags of gold, walking out without bothering Smaug, and then you're wealthy and owning your own land somewhere. There's a lot of needless risk.
Right. And they put in a needless love triangle in here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, what's the point of this? This wasn't part of the book. This is something that you did on your own.
Yeah.
So, and it didn't amount, and I mean, if you watch the movies, guys, it didn't amount to much.
Yeah, that always felt like an awkward relationship there between the dwarf and the elf.
I don't know. For me, it felt a little forced.
Oh, very forced, very forced.
Certainly.
And the terrible ending there, too. Like, how do you leave on the cliffhanger of a dragon about to attack a town?
I know. Oh, yay, I can wait a year to see how that works out.
Like, at least with the Lord of the Rings, they waited till the big battle was over, and then they cut away to the credits.
Yeah.
You cut away before the battle. Like, what the heck?
And then all to resolve that issue in 5 minutes, practically. Maybe 10 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
You took care of a major villain, and then you just conveniently move away from the rest of the previous story to move into the next one.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not really digging how that went. Like, you should have ended with Lake Town being devastated.
Yeah, that would have been a good ending right there.
Yeah.
That's not what they went with.
No, it's not.
And then, of course, the forced references to Lord of the Rings again.
I was waiting for one of us to get to it, and it's like, God almighty, you have your own forced references this time.
Yeah.
Again.
Why does Gandalf need to go off and explore one thing when he's in the middle of one adventure?
I don't know. It's like, man, you joined this quest for a reason, but then you leave him all the time?
It's like he's got ADD or something. Like, that whole sequence had nothing to do with what was going on with the dwarves. It was totally unnecessary to the story.
I don't know, but there was a lot of things that weren't part of the story anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here that has nothing to do with the actual story of The Hobbit. But just having that in there is just so stupid. Like, if he walked off to go find some trinket that's going to help them fight Smaug, okay, great, do it. No, he just ran off to go do his own little quest in the middle of a quest he was already on.
I know, stupid. Oh well, that was an ongoing theme for the rest of the story anyway.
Yeah.
Was things that had nothing to do with the story of The Hobbit, but we wanted to reference and get you ready for Lord of the Rings 60 years from now. So, yeah.
We wanted to get you ready for something that came out 20 years ago.
Interesting. I don't know. I guess it's a way of saying, hey, feel free to watch this before Lord of the Rings.
I don't want to do that. I just want to watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'm happy with the story as it is.
It works fine as a standalone trilogy.
It's funny how nothing that got made in this universe ever lived up to the original trilogy in any way.
There's no reason it couldn't have. You know, Middle Earth is a really fun universe. You have all kinds of stuff going on if you explore it and you write it well, but they haven't.
No, they keep trying to tie it into the original story. I'm like, no, if you're going to tell a story, tell the story, you know? Even in Rings of Power, for example, they kept trying to find ways to tie that into Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, tell your story.
Either you use what you have as far as Tolkien literature, and you just tell those stories as they exist, or you go full creative and ignore the Lord of the Rings altogether. Just gone full Tales of Middle Earth or something.
Would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fam, before we get off into any tangents, I think we should just end it there. I think you get the point, we get the point, so we'll just leave it at that. But as always, guys, please be sure if you're brand new to like, subscribe, hit the bells, check us out on all those things up there, and like and subscribe again. But until next time, this is Cocktail Flicks. I'm Joe.
I'm Dan.
And we'll catch you on the flip side. Cheers to you, fam. Cheers to you, Dan.
Cheers to you, Joe.
Later, you guys.